No open tonight, jumping right to it, and against my better judgment, Matt Moscona is here because the LSU Tigers are going to the college baseball championship this weekend, Saturday, Omaha. What are you thinking about it, man? Handicap the chances.
I think LSU and Wake Forest are the two odds-on favorites to win, and such a big part of Omaha is getting into the winner's bracket. They've condensed the format from what it was the last time LSU was there. There was just a lot of downtime. Mm-hmm. And so when you don't have as many off days, you don't have as much time to reset your pitching. So you got to stay in the winner's bracket. So Paul Skeens going first for LSU gives them a chance to beat anybody.
Yeah.
But really that second game in Omaha, if it's LSU Wake Forest, you're going to need a big day from Ty Floyd. You get that, you should be in the championship series.
How did the game getting pushed back so much last weekend impact this week, if at all?
Not for this week. That weekend, both Kentucky and LSU had to deal with the delay. But for this week, the bigger thing would have been if you're in bracket 1, you play on Friday. Mm-hmm. You're in bracket 2, you play on Saturday.
Yeah.
The only reason that really makes a difference, like we talked about, is the championship series, should LSU make it, begins the following Saturday. So you have one fewer day to get everybody reset.
Yeah.
So that's really the only thing when you start talking about timing. It's how do you set up your pitching for 10 days in Omaha, while also understanding you got to win today.
Right.
You got to be all in to win every game you play there because you want to avoid loser's bracket. But you also want to make sure that you have enough pitching to get yourself through 10 days if you need to.
It's interesting. Do you think this is fast in the curve in terms of being back at championship level for this team?
Well, it feels that way because it's the second year for Jay Johnson, right? It does. But the transfer portal has just fundamentally changed all of college athletics. Mm-hmm. Kim Mulkey won a national championship in year 2 at LSU because she was able to go get Alexis Morris and Angel Reese, the cornerstones of the team. Hat tip to Paul Maneri, though, because Paul Maneri recruited guys like Dylan Cruz and Jordan Thompson and Trey Morgan, guys who are a cornerstone of this team. But then Jay Johnson was able to go and get, of course, Paul Skeens and Tommy White and some of these transfers that have been super impactful. But it's why expectations go. The expectation is everything goes quick.
So let me ask you about the transfer portal. I have it on good authority that recently there was a meeting in Washington, D.C. with a couple of coaches, one being Brian Kelly, the other being Nick Saban, meeting with someone that we both know. And they're getting together to put some kind of guardrails up as it relates to the transfer portal. And I don't know how I feel about that yet. What are your thoughts on that?
I know NIL has been a big part of that as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, excuse me. I said transfer portal. NIL is what I meant. Yeah.
But they do go sort of hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
But I am all about capitalism, man. If you can make it, God bless you, go get it. If someone's willing to pay you, I'm all for it. I'll grant you, Clay, I am an outlier. I'm an extremist on this. I'm for, if you want to transfer, just like an engineering student can transfer, anybody should be able to go find the best opportunity for yourself.
Right. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Coaches come in, they commit to a kid, saying, I'm going to be here, help you get to the next level. They get a new gig or better opportunity, they leave.
Yeah.
Why is that not good for the kids?
I agree. The group of people most inconvenienced by the transfer portal are coaches.
Yeah.
And I am not sympathetic toward millionaire coaches who have to do a tougher job now to recruit your roster.
Hell no.
I'm sorry you've been inconvenienced.
That's right.
I'm going to err on the side of the student athlete.
So if just think, man, back in the day, when you were playing, you might have gotten a couple of endorsements there.
Yeah, it could have happened. Or
not.
Nope, not going to happen. Nope, never would happen.
All right, man, I might have to get you back in here next week, depending on what happens this weekend.
Would love to.
After further review, hosted by Matt Moscona, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Lafayette now, right?
Lafayette and Lake Charles coming a week from Monday.
Man, he's coming for you. All right, we got a lot to get into tonight from school programs. We'll talk about a couple of different things that are happening for communities around here. Stay back where you are in a second. One of my favorite things to do here on the show is highlight local talent, whether it's entertainment, academics, or business. Brad Gordon is an entrepreneur here in Baton Rouge, owner of the Sky Lounge. And man, I was over there a couple Fridays ago and did not know that was your place. It's right in the middle of the city off of College Drive. And before we get to that place and talking about what it is, let's talk about owning a business in Baton Rouge and what that journey has been like, man?
It's been an interesting journey. A lot of life lessons learned,
Yeah.
good and bad. I would say the most important lesson I've learned is perseverance.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about your background, just to getting to this point right now. You're from here?
From here, lifelong resident of the parish, grew up in North Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Southern University,
Oh, yeah.
Glen Oaks High School.
Yeah.
I love Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
I believe in Baton Rouge. I believe in the vision of what Baton Rouge can be,
Yeah.
and I want to be a part of that vision and helping to grow us.
How do we catalyze more investment here in the city and to get people to stay and to do what you do? You know, as a business owner, you're taking a risk in whatever city you're in, but especially in a city that's trying to thrive. How do we get more of that here?
By doing the hard things.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is there's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a difference in the old Baton Rouge mindset and the new Baton Rouge mindset.
Right.
And the new Baton Rouge mindset is it's a lot of people that just don't mind doing the work,
Right.
doing the hard things. And at the end of the day, capitalism is king. So I mean, you have to offer a product
Yeah.
that people want to pay and partake in. Another thing is, as entrepreneurs in Baton Rouge, a lot of us are still in our infancy. So, there's some growing pains. There's, we all have a lot to learn. But Baton Rouge, I really believe in what we will be in the next 5 to 10 years.
You know, it's interesting. I agree with you, and I think there is more of a culture of unity among young business owners now. You know, there are mixers and things that are happening here where people exchange ideas differently than they used to. You go to an Atlanta, you go to a Houston, Dallas, that synergy among the business culture there is so great, and we hadn't always had that, but we have it here now.
Correct. Collaboration is king.
Yeah.
I'll say this: I've had a lot of success doing things alone, but I've achieved the same level of success with a greater bandwidth to do multiple things through collaboration.
I agree, man. And let's talk about Sky Lounge. Tell me
Sky
about
Lounge.
Sky Lounge. For people who've not been there, tell me about that place.
Sky Lounge is a unique indoor and outdoor sports bar. It's a business that I took over, I want to say right around the beginning of March. We're still going through a process of making some changes.
Yeah.
We've completely overhauled the menu, the food menu, the drink menu, built a beautiful patio out front that we're continuing to add things to and make improvements to. And it's very, very conveniently located right off College Drive. For those of you that are looking to have, an experience, but without too much rah-rah, Sky Lounge is definitely the place for you.
Listen, late in the afternoon or late in the evening, it's a great place to be. Of course, it's fish grease hot at around 3 o'clock in the day every day. But after
Yes.
then, it's a pretty good place to go. And I've gone there and I support what you're doing, man. And listen, if we could ever help get the word out more about it, you could come here and talk with us. Seabass was supposed to be on with us today. We'll get him in another time, the comedian there. But you have live music out there sometimes too?
We have live music on Thursdays. There's always a live DJ there with a very eclectic type of music selection that we play.
All right. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate you, brother. He
Thank
didn't
you
get
for
the
the
memo
invite.
about no ties in June, but we'll catch him the
I
next
wish
time.
I would have got the memo because I really don't like wearing ties.
Let's talk about what the school system has going on this summer for your kids. Back to talk about that in just a moment. Dr. Nishan Stovall with EBR Schools is here with us to talk about some of the summer programs going on right now across East Baton Rouge Parish. I always think it's interesting that we don't have school year-round, so you have to find a way to put something out there for kids because, as you know, Doc, a lot of children in our community only eat when they go to school, and they don't have food. So let's talk about some of the programs that are out there right now.
We have several programs going on right now, maybe about 10 to 12 different engagements that students have available to them. We have our Discovery Day for students who are in Discovery Day Camp for students who are in transition. We have our Summer Enrichment Camp that is a partnership with several local partners, YMCA, BREC, Boys and Girls Clubs, and Big Buddy program. And so we have those going on throughout the day as well. So we have students who may be in remediation. We have students who may have to go to summer school. All of those programs, of course, have feeding available, so we have meal sites as well. We also have stuff for the high school students, so summer internships are available to those students. We also have at our CTEC program, we have a plethora of things for them through our Jumpstart summer program. So it's lots of things going on for students from kindergarten all the way up to high school.
So what are y'all trying to accomplish with some of these programs?
First and foremost, safety. We want kids to have a safe place to go. You mentioned already that we have the meal sites, so they are safe, they are fed, and we also want to make sure that we target the elimination of learning loss during the summer.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we're keeping their minds energized as well as their bodies.
Do you all have trouble getting some of the areas filled? I mean, how is the sign-up process going?
In some cases we do. Sign up is limited. Some of those camps where we have our partners is based off of their capacity, but we've had a lot of students and parents to register for camp. So many of them are full, but there are some that we still have an opportunity to engage with students and families to increase to get to capacity.
What is the biggest thing you would say parents should think about during these summer months when kids are not in school?
So one of the misconceptions is that students spend more time at school than they do at home, and that's just not true.
Right.
They actually spend most of their time away from school. And so we want to make sure that during the summer months that we still keep them engaged with learning. So even if they're not in a summer program, we want to make sure that they're still reading, that they're still, exercising their minds along with their bodies. So not just sitting around, but still engaged.
Do you guys engage social media at all to get the word out about some of the programs available?
Absolutely, yes. On all of our social media platforms, we push out everything that we have going on, as well as our website.
What about programs that are literacy facing during the summer? Do you have anything going on for kids? Because reading is a big part, and like you talked about, keeping kids at level or at least not letting them lose ground is important.
Yes, so all of our summer enrichment camps have a math component as well as a literacy component. So the morning half is instruction with academics in a very fun and engaging way. And then in the afternoon, they have the full enrichment. So they'll have the sports camp or those YMCA, Break, Big Buddy, Boys and Girls Club partnerships where they will engage with the students along with other partners. But so in addition to that literacy component in the morning, we also have a camp that is dedicated to literacy remediation for students in 2nd and 3rd grade who may have had some shortcomings, and so we want to make sure that we help to prepare them going into the next grade level.
I love that. And you're now at the deadline to sign kids up has passed. Is that correct?
It has passed, yes.
So if people want to know about these going forward, where can they get information?
They can go to our website, ebrschools.org/summer.
Well, look, I appreciate what y'all are doing, and that's a big thing for me, is keeping these kids occupied so they can hopefully stay out of trouble this summer.
Absolutely. We want them to get into good trouble.
Get into some good
Yes,
trouble.
yes.
Speaking of learning, I want to tell you about a curriculum that is absolutely fantastic, and the force behind it will be here on set with me next. Stay right there. Dr. Calandra Brown Robinson is a force here in Baton Rouge, and she is the architect behind PTP. What is PTP, Doc?
PTP is a positive mindset curriculum that I went through in my life in transforming myself, coming from a federal prison number to Dr. Calandra Brown Robinson. And so I put it on paper, and I've been practicing it for 19 years, and so now we are bringing it to the judicial system and to personal people to implement a positive mindset, because with that, you can transform.
You know, it's interesting. You have such an amazing story, and I've never seen someone who is just unwilling to make any excuses about anything, just jumping right in. Tell people a little bit about your story.
Well, I made bad decisions, wanting to get things quickly and wrongly. And in that process, I got convicted and was sent to a federal institution, and I no longer was Calandra. I became 02539-095. And I was there for 42 months out of a 48-month sentence in a federal penitentiary, and I lost my identity. But it was there that I knew that's not where I wanted to be. and I started figuring things out, like how do I change my life? How do I get those things that I really want and desire without having to do it illegally?
Yeah. It's interesting. You could go one of two ways in a situation like that. Someone can do what you did and decide to build up, or in some cases, people fall off a cliff and they never really recovered. What motivated you to say, you know what, I'm going to discover what my true destiny is?
My daughter.
Oh,
My daughter, my mother, the people who I hurt in being selfish, those people motivated me, and the fact that I knew I had better in me. I deserved better. And so once I grasped the concept that I had value and I was worthy, and I began to utilize the resources, my family around me, then I was able to build. So one small goal became another goal, and the joke is, Calandra, is it ever enough? And it will be when I die. That's when I know.
That's it. You sleep when you die, is the old saying. So let's talk about the curriculum. I mean, you mentioned in the open that you've spoken to judges and courts about applying this to people. How does it work?
So how it will work is, some people make bad decisions. Not that they're bad people, but they are in different environments and they just make the wrong decision. PTP Academy is based on your mindset, because regardless to where we take you from one environment and put you in another environment, if you do not believe you are worthy to be there, if you do not have a culture, a community of people to help build you up, it doesn't matter. You're still going to revert back to that same negative behavior. And so with this program, we specifically build and help transform your mindset.
How do you do that?
By teaching them who they are, by identifying negative behaviors and teaching them how to identify negative behaviors. And we have outsources that we work with other people in the community to help them set goals and reach goals. And you would be surprised at somebody reaching a simple goal, how that one little thing will help catapult them into their next.
And this is for men and women, males and females?
Men and women, juveniles and adults.
All right, so, and you tell me where you've been talking. I know that you've had conversations here and in other places about the implementation of this. Tell us where it is and how people can get it.
We are at ptpacademy.org. They can click the link and learn everything about it, or they can give us a call at 225-314-6777.
You know, I'm a big proponent of dealing with the causes of what creates these outcomes on the streets. And arresting alone is not just the way to fix it. So I'd like to ask you in the less than a minute we have left, why it's so important to invest in people to change the outcomes.
Because it can change the narrative of our whole community. Instead of throwing them away and putting them in prison, you can actually change a person's mindset and make them a positive, productive person, like I have become in our community, and they can bring another person up with them as well.
I love that. Tell people again where they can find out about your program.
We're at ptpacademy.org, and the number is 225-314-6777.
You know, I don't really appreciate you and Brad Gordon coming in here and outdressing me on my own TV show. We got to have a conversation about that, y'all. Let's talk about the impact of social media on our kids and our community. Mike Banford is going to be here with us on the set in just a moment. Dr. Calandra Brown Robinson. I love that. PTP, y'all look her up. That was good. You know, I love these great conversations with guests about things that most of us talk about all the time. And this is the summertime. And as we know, as we just talked about with Dr. Stovall and Dr. Robinson, it's important to do some investment into our kids. And Mike Banford's been here before, and you remember Mike's story, and he's now invested himself into helping our young people here around the community. And you and I were talking about the impact of social media on these kids. And I happen to know from talking to people in law enforcement, a lot of fights that happen in our community start on social media. The street racing thing that's going on right now across the country, a lot of those start on social media. Man, how out of control is it right now with these kids and social media?
It's a real problem, you know, based on the fact that everything comes to social media was being portrayed a lot of these kids can't separate that from what's real life.
Yeah.
And they begin to act those things out because they're seeing these examples that have been set before them. They think this is the way to go. And this is how all this beef is getting started, and these kids are killing each other and hurting each other and being disrespectful towards their parents and going to jail and everything. So it is a serious problem within the community.
You know, for people who don't know, let's tell people a little bit about your background and some of the work that you're doing right now and this curriculum you're trying to get off the ground.
Okay, with the village, you know, that's my baby. I love it. And what I love so most about is that a kid could want to be a football player, a doctor, a lawyer, a judge, or what have you. Well, what the village is about is putting them in that atmosphere. Why they can't be with a judge for a day? Why they can't be with a lawyer for a day? Be with a scientist for a day? Be with an astronaut for a day to live in their moment so they can see their dream right before their eyes. And I think that gives them what they need to go forward and say, hey, this is what I really want to be. But how society is structured these days, they just don't have that.
You know, you were the first person to use this African proverb I had not heard before about. Tell people that proverb.
It says, if a child doesn't feel the warmth of a village, he'll burn it down to feel its flames. And as a result of that, this is what we're seeing in our communities.
It's crazy to me that just a couple of weeks ago, or just really last week, we saw the father of assassinated police officer Montrell Jackson beaten to death outside of a convenience store on North Foster. Got to do something to invest in these kids. If you had to give advice to leaders right now about some of what we should be thinking about this summer, what would it be?
Get out of your offices. You could lead, you could think you're leading from behind your desk. You're not leading. You're not impacting anything.
Yeah.
You have to get from behind your desk and go into the community to talk to the people that's suffering, to talk to the people that you're governing. But if you don't have a heart for people, you're going to stay behind your desk. And don't keep asking for change if you're not willing to change what you're doing to make an impact within your community.
100%, man. I'm going to have a conversation later this summer with a group of people about that very thing. I'll get you to come back to be on that panel. He was fighting traffic today to get here. All right, next week, volunteers in public schools will be here to talk about what they've got coming up in the next school year. A rock star at Capitol High School and two young ladies who are actresses who are very, very much so going to change your world. They'll be on the set next week. Y'all have a great weekend. Go Tigers.